Hi, good morning everyone. I hope everyone is doing fantastic today. Before we start, let me just introduce myself. My name is John, one of the presenters for today's discussion. And for today's agenda, I will talk about exercise principles. Let's talk about exercise success factors, and FIT or FITT principles. So let's begin. So, exercise. Of course, everyone is definitely aware about it because it happens every day, right? Well, talking about exercise, this is to subject to practice or exertion in order to train, strengthen, or develop. Exercise the back muscles, exercise the memory. And this is a type of physical activity that is planned, structured, and involves repetitive bodily movements. And why exercise is very important? Well, guys, exercise is important for a number of reasons that include physical health, longevity, stamina, mood, and more. You can exercise regardless of your sex, your age, or even physical ability. Regular physical activity helps to deliver oxygen and nutrients to the vital parts of your body. And why is it really important for students, especially us as a student? Well, exercising is important for students because it helps students to enhance their cardiorespiratory fitness and build strong bones and muscles. In addition, it also controls weight and reduces the symptoms of anxiety and depression. Further, it can also reduce the risk of health conditions like heart disease and more. Alright, so let's move on. So our next agenda is about exercise success factors. And first on the list, that is about individual's level of fitness. It is very simple, guys. It's just about your fitness level means your body's ability to withstand a physical workload and to recover in a timely manner. That's it. And second one, it's about individuals' goals, right? This is very important. Why? It's because we make a daily commitment, adapting our behaviors, our mindsets, and habits to exercise towards creating the change we want. Small, daily, and consistent changes can definitely lead to a big results over time. This is how effective goal setting exercise is. And lastly, it's about a specific component to develop. Developing a particular fitness component, you must perform exercises designed specifically for that component. This is the principle of specificity. Alright? And, like weight training, for example, develops muscular strength, but is less effective for developing cardiorespiratory endurance or flexibility. Now, we're moving on to FIT principle or FITT principle. Okay, so the FIT principle is an acronym that represents frequency, intensity, time, and also type. It can be used by anyone, a beginner or experienced, for any type of activity. It can also be used by therapists in the patient population for individuals recovering from a condition. FIT is really useful and effective because it's also a great way of monitoring your exercise program. And of course, we will talk about the FIT principle, which is the first on the list. We will talk about the frequency. Okay, so when you heard the word frequency, okay, this refers to to how often you exercise. The point is to meet your goals without overtraining the body. So when it comes to, first, to cardio, as a general rule of thumb, we have to make sure to aim for a minimum of 3 cardio sessions per week. If you're looking to lose weight, you might increase this number to 5 to 6 sessions. When it comes to strength and training, it's recommended to do some sort of strength training 3 to 4 times per week. Strength training can involve the use of weights, like body weight, workouts, resistance, barbells, or machines. And it's also important to give your muscles a chance to recover. Alright, so let's move on. Alright, so intensity. This is the second rule in FITT principle, relates to intensity, okay? So it defines the amount of effort that should be invested in a training program or any one session. More likely it's about how difficult an exercise is. Okay, so when it comes to strength training, if you're new to an exercise program, you don't want to make the plan too challenging. This could lead to, injury or burnout, and that's something that we don't really want to happen, right? So you start at a level that feels comfortable, that's the most important thing, right? And then gradually increase the difficulty as your strength and endurance builds. Right. So with a strength training, there are 3 primary methods you can use to measure intensity. The first one is amount of weight lifted. The second one is the number of repetitions completed. And lastly, it's the number of sets, of course. And third on the list, it's about time. Okay, so that's very basic. Everyone knows about what time is. It's not about the watch. Alright, now just kidding aside, time relates to the amount of time or duration of each exercise, and that's very important. This is a measure of endurance, an important component of exercise. And ideally, most people would get 150 minutes or more of moderate exercise, or at least 75 minutes of high intensity exercise a week. And for average, especially for non-athletes, this is typically divided into 30 minutes segments. Of course, for athletes running a marathon, this will look completely different, right? But the same principles apply. Okay, so the concept is to start at the level that is currently comfortable and increase it slowly to avoid injury. Building endurance takes time, and rushing it too quickly leads to a burnout. And the time available for strength training is also a consideration. That is why after a certain level, it is recommended to increase the weight rather than just adding more repetitions and sets, which take more time. Alright, so lastly, guys, let's talk about the type. Alright, so type is the kind of exercises that person is completing for both cardio and strength training. Okay, so this is often related to interest, and then location and available equipment. And then cardio can be any exercise that gets the heart rate up for a sustained period of time, ideally at least 30 minutes. Alright, so there were popular options include walking, we have running, swimming, dancing, and also biking. Right, so about this, let's actually talk about cardiorespiratory training, applying the FIT principle, at the same time resistance training. Okay, so using the FITT principle, the best type of exercise, to tax or improve the cardiovascular system should be continuous in nature, and make use of large muscle groups, right? Examples include running, walking, swimming, dancing, cycling, aerobics classes, circuit training, cycling, etc. And talking about resistance training, guys, this is really obvious too, right? Because the best form of exercise to stress the neuromuscular system in resistance training. But resistance training, guys, does not necessarily mean lifting weights. Resistance bands could be used as an alternative or perhaps a circuit training session that only incorporates bodyweight exercises.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Kingsley Ballesteros, and my report today it's about principle of overload and principle of specificity. And let's start to principle of overload. The most important principle in all strength training program. No? Why overload is important? Because if we don't do overload, we don't see gain in muscle strength, we don't see gains in endurance like that. No? In order to gain strength and muscle mass, muscle needs to be stressed beyond normal daily basis. No? What is the best example for this? Like for example, when you do gym, when you do bicep curls like that, no? When you do bicep curls, the muscle is getting stressed, no? Pag nai-stress yung muscles natin, lumalaki siya, guys. No? Lagi po natin tatandaan yan. Pag once na nag-gym tayo, nai-stress yung muscles natin, and then lumalaki yan. Okay? In, in, in stepping outside of your comfort zone equals growth. No? Tama po yun, guys, no? Kailangan lumalabas tayo sa comfort zone natin. Hindi lang naman po sa topic natin ito, like sa buhay din, ganun. No? Pero, di na tayo lalayo. Example natin is about, like, pag mapayat ka, ganun. Diba? Pag payat ka, tapos, syempre, gusto mo, nilulook out mo yung sarili mo na magiging macho ka, magiging, malaki ka, ganyan, lalaki ka, ganun. Yun na yung pinaka-tamang term dun. Kailangan mong umalis sa comfort zone mo. Kung dati, hindi mo ginagawa yung mga bagay na to, kailangan mo nang gawin yun, guys. Like for example, kung gusto mo talagang mag-gain ka ng muscle, magbuhat ka, mag-gym ka, no? Mag-bench press ka, mag-bicep curl ka, ganyan, mag-shoulder press ka, ganun. Kasi gusto mo lumaki ka, kaya kailangan mo rin umalis sa comfort zone mo. And then, to overload muscle, you must increase the volume of work. Tama, no? Meron dito, increase resistance, increase the number of sets and repetition. Ngayon guys, ito po yung definition ng repetition tsaka yung sets. Repetition, the number of times you do a specific exercise. 2. Set, any particular number of repetition or group of reps. No? Like, tayo guys, no? Tayo, pag nag-gym tayo, no? Kung gusto natin maging bodybuilder tayo, o may naghahangad sa atin dito na maging bodybuilder. Tapos, di ba, nag-overload ka ng muscles niyan. And then, kung nag-gym ka, ginagawa mo is 3 sets, tapos 10 repetitions, ganyan. Tapos, kung gusto mong lumaki pa yung muscles mo, kung gusto mong mag-overload yung muscles mo, kailangan dagdagan mo pa. Like for example, kung dati 3 sets ka lang, gagawin mong 4. O tapos, yung repetition mo 10 lang, gagawin mong 12. Ganon. Kaya guys, no, increase, kung gusto mo lang talaga, increase ka rin, syempre. I-level up mo rin kung ano yung ginagawa mo. Tips to safely apply to overload principle to your training. Number 1, test your maxes. Guys, kailangan natin i-test yung max natin. Kasi, nalalaman din natin kung ilang kilos yung kaya natin buhatin pag once na nag-set na tayo tsaka repetition na tayo. Okay? Kailangan tinetest mo yung max mo. max mo na kaya mong buhatin. Okay? Number 2, increase loads gradually and progressively. Getting strong takes time. Like for example guys, nag-gym ka, ang kaya mong buhatin is 20 kilos. Tapos sa unang set, okay ka, okay. Tapos second set, medyo nahihirapan ka na. Tapos third set, sobrang talagang hirap na hirap ka na. Tapos bigla kang mag-i-increase ng 25 kilos na binubuhat mo. Mali yun guys. No? Mali yun. Kailangan mabuhat mo muna ng maayos yung 20 kilos bago ka mag-upgrade. No? Wag mong mamadaliin ang pagbubuhat. Kasi pag once na nag-increase ka, sayang din kasi yung ilalaki mo eh. Sayang ilalaki mo pag once na nag-increase ka agad. Kaya kailangan yung yung pagiging malakas hindi naman nakukuha ng madalian yun. No? Number 3, allow ample recovery time. A field of rest bring a bountiful crop. No? Kailangan guys, pag nag-overload din tayo, kailangan nagpapahinga rin tayo. No? Napaka-importante ng recovery, ng pagre-recover ng muscles natin para sa susunod na magbubuhat tayo ulit. Hindi masakit ganun. Hindi tayo may injury. Okay? Number 4, plan and monitor training loads, no? Kailangan yung mga yung mga trainings natin, pinaplano din 'yan. Tsaka mino-monitor, hindi yung tira ka lang ng tira. No, kailangan pinaplano mo yung mga trainings mo na ginagawa. Okay? Alternate activities so you are not training the same musculature every day. No? Paano ba ito ipapaliwanag guys? Like for example, nag-gym ka. No? Ilang beses kang nag-gym sa isang linggo? Apat na araw or 3 araw. Tapos yun bang 4 na araw na yun, gagawin mo ba siya na puro chest lang? Hindi, mali yun. Ma-over fatigue yung muscles natin na winawork. Kaya kailangan, pag once na, yun, para safe rin yung overload mo, dapat alternate yung ginagawa mong exercise. Like for example, sa Monday, nag-chest ka, sa Tuesday, nag-arms ka, Thursday, nagbaback ka, ganyan. Tapos Friday, depende sa'yo. Basta, guys, wag sa buong linggo nag-chest ka lang. Kailangan iba-ibang parts ng body mo na workout. No? Para nakaka-recover din yung muscles natin. No? Okay? Track your progress, don't just ink it. No? Track your progress, no? Kailangan tinatrack din natin yung progress natin. Like for example, kung dati 90 kilos ka, tapos syempre nag-overload ka na, medyo bumababa na yung kilos mo, nagiging 80 na lang. Naging 80 na. Hindi naman pwedeng isipin mo na yun. Kailangan inaano mo rin yun. Sinusulat mo rin. Kasi pag once na nasa isip mo lang, nakakalimutan mo yan. Kaya pag once na sinulat mo, at least, pag tinitingnan mo, nababalikan mo yung nagawa mo nun. Nababalikan mo siya. Okay? Don't forget to have fun. The overload principle is meant for self-improving, and in this case, strength gains, enjoy the process, no? Yes, guys, no? Kailangan, pag once na nag-overload tayo, syempre kailangan, nag-enjoy tayo, in-enjoy lang natin yan, no? Parang, like for example, yan, di ba, payat ka, tapos sitting ka sa salamin, grabe yan, nag-self-improve na ako, nag-i-improve na ako, no? Ganun naman talaga guys, no, yung overload principle. Ano naman yan para sa sarili mo rin, para sa improvement ng ikalalaki mo, para sa i-improve mo, para sa confidence mo rin syempre. Okay? Alam niyo na ba yung tips guys ha? Mga tips yan, okay? Yan, di ba? Nakita nyo, lain ng muscle nyo. Talagang pinalaki nyo yung sarili nyo kasi sumunod siya sa tips ng kung paano maging safe yung overload principle. Okay? Principle of specificity. What you do in workout should be relevant to your desired outcome. Uh, if I want to run a marathon, I need to run. If I want to increase the strength of my leg muscles, I need to strength train those muscles. No? Like, for example, yan guys, no, yung example. If you want to run a marathon, syempre, kailangan, you need to run too. You need to train. You need to practice, no? Hindi ka pwedeng kung mag-fun run or mag-marathon na hindi ka nagte-training. Kailangan kung dinidesire mo na mag-marathon, kailangan nagte-train ka. Hindi pwede yung kabud ka lang sasalang sa marathon. Guys, mapapagod ka na sobra nun. Kailangan, whatever you do, na kung ano man yung gusto mo, kung ano man yung dinidesire mo na katawan, ganyan. Para gusto mo maging kakatawan mo si Arnold Schwarzenegger, ganyan. No? Kailangan mag-gym ka, guys. Gym. No? Magbuhat ka. Kagaya ng ginagawa niya, magbuhat ka, guys. Hindi pwede yung nag-gym ka, ay gusto mo lumaki yung katawan mo, tapos hindi ka naman nag-gym. No? Kailangan, ano rin tayo guys, no? Maging specificity rin tayo. Okay? To become a better at a particular exercise or skills, you must perform that exercise or skill. Don't expect to get faster if you're only bench pressing. Don't expect your bench press to get better if you only doing sprints. Tama naman guys, no? Hindi ka naman pwedeng, huwag ka mag-expect na magiging mabilis ka kung nagbe-bench press ka lang. No? Kailangan kung gusto mong maging mabilis ka, mag-sprint ka. Sprint ka 100 meters. Ganyan, 100 meters, 10 times mong gagawin yon, 10 sets mo siyang gagawin, di ba? Kailangan guys, no, wag once na gusto mong maging better ka sa bagay na yun, kailangan mo rin siyang i-practice din talaga. Hindi yung once na gusto mong bumilis ka tapos hindi mo naman ginagawa yung mga pampabilis na mga training ganyan. O kaya gusto mo lumaki yung arms mo tapos nagle-legs ka. Hindi na pwede yun guys, no? Kailangan pag once na nag-ano ka ng muscle mo or pinapalaki mo yung bench press mo para maporma ka, diba? Ganun naman tapos pag mini-workout mo yung legs, hindi. Kailangan pag once na kung gusto mong palakihin yung bicep mo, kailangan bicep na mga workouts din yung ginagawa mo. Okay? Ganun po yan guys.
Hi guys, I'm Patricia M. Perez and let's talk about what is progression and variation. First, what is progression? A principle of progression of exercise that state that a person should start slowly and increase exercise gradually. The idea that as your body adapts to your exercise routine, you have to increase the intensity to continue to see enhanced fitness. Principle of progression. The workload must be progressive increase for improvement to occur. Increase workload when your body adapts. The principle of progression state that increase in time, weight, or intensity should be kept within 10% or less each week to allow to gradual adaptation while minimizing risk of injury. And for example, if you do 3 sets of 8 repetition at 60 pounds successfully, up to 8 or 65 pounds on a subsequent attempt. We have 2 types of progression. Level 1 is performing a single leg balance to reaching movement. And the second two of level 2, performing squat and or deadlift on the single leg or performing lunge that step into a single leg balance. And let's proceed what is variation. The principle of variation implies the biological organism undergo changes of symmetry over time, and that as we discussed below, some of these changes cannot be stated in advance. And the principle of variation maintains that a constant adaptation and changes in intensity, volume, and time of the workload will be prevent and stagnation of performance gains or increase performance gains faster than repetition of the same workout. So by creating a variation and changing exercise in your routine, you can create a new stimulus which creates more progress over time. And if you have rotates exercise or activity every so often, your injury risk will decrease. Why is the principle of variation is important? Because it is allow us to overcome adaptive resistance and continue making progress over the long term. So, what are the two importance of variation? Variations make some individual better suited in struggle for existence. Number two, they help individual to adapt themselves to the changing environment.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Jamaira Tijunaini, and this is my report. My report is all about principle of individualization. Goal setting. Goal setting involves the development of an action plan, designed in order to motivate and guide a person or group toward a goal. Goals are more deliberate than desires and momentary intentions. Therefore, setting goals means that a person has committed thought, emotion, and behavior towards attaining the goal. For example, in doing exercise, may goal kang sumeksi or magka-muscle or whatsoever. Kailangan mo na may plano ka para ma-motivate ka na gawin yun. 'Di ba? In doing so, the goal setter has established a desired future state which differs from their current state, thus creating a mismatch which in turn spars future actions. Goal setting can be guided by goal setting criteria or rules such as SMART criteria. The SMART goals. The S stands for specific. Plan effectively with specific targets in mind. M stands for measurable. Track your progress and reevaluate along the way. A stands for attainable. Set realistic goals that are challenging but achievable. R stands for relevant. Ensure the goal serves a relevant purpose. The T is for time. Specify a deadline, monitor progress, and reevaluate. Reversibility in fitness is a concept that states workouts gains or progress will be lost when an athlete stops of training. Reversibility in fitness can apply to all forms of exercise, such as cardiovascular, endurance, and strength training. Reversibility, also known as the fact that when training stops, the adaptations made are lost. Adaptations are generally lost at a similar rate to which they were gained. So if an athlete has put on 10 kg of muscles in 1 month, then gets injured, they will lose the muscles very quickly. However, if the athlete has developed that muscle slowly over 6 months or maintained their muscles gain for 6 months, then the loss occurs at a slower rate. The more adaptations that have happened, the more you have to lose. So, elite level athletes tend to lose more than a recreational athlete because they have more to lose. Athletes need to avoid the reversibility that will occur if training ceases. Training can cease for multiple reasons. The two main reasons are injury and the end of season. Reversibility can be avoided by maintaining some level of training during the off-season or when injured. This is more problematic for an injured person but can be achieved by training the uninjured parts of the body while recovering. Like for example, in aerobic training, ang epekto po ng reversibility po dito is makikita or malalaman mo lang po siya pagkatapos po ng 4 or 6 na linggo. Ano po sa tingin ninyo ang aerobic exercise? Ang aerobic exercise po is all about conditioning our cardiovascular or our cardio. Ang mga example po na mga exercise po dito is breast walking, cycling, running, and swimming. Resistance training, reversibility can normally be seen in 2 weeks. The effects can be avoided by maintaining 1 session a week at the same intensity as previous training. Law of diminishing returns is an idea or situations that anyone who has trained for a while will most likely encountered. It means that you no longer receive the same progress or growth from the workout or exercise that you have been doing. How do you avoid diminishing returns in fitness? If you're an athlete, athletes are advised to alternate 2-week cycle of hard and easier workouts while gradually increasing at the training volume until it peaks a few weeks before a major competition.
Good morning everyone. My name is Mary Grace and I am going to report about arrangement of exercises, warm up and cool down. Arrangement of exercises. Exercises for bigger muscles should come before exercises for smaller muscles. So in arrangement of exercises, we should always do the bigger muscle group before our smaller muscle group. Examples, chest or back before shoulders, bicep or tricep. So chest and back, those are the bigger muscle group of our upper body. And shoulder, bicep, and tricep naman po, those are the smaller muscle group of our upper body. Here in the picture, so you can see, ito po, these are back exercises. Deadlifts, pull-ups, machine row, close grip pull, dumbbell rows, chin-ups, hyperextension, cable row, T-bar row, wide drip pull, barbell rows, and pull-overs. Ito po. These are example for our back exercises. Sa chest exercise naman po, flat bench press, inclined press, decline press, cable pec flies, chest dips, machine press, dumbbell pull over, wide push-ups. So, ito naman po ang example ng chest exercises. Sa smaller muscle group naman po ng upper body, example po ng exercise for bicep, incline dumbbell curl, dumbbell hammer curl, barbell curl, chin-ups. And sa triceps naman po, overhead dumbbell extension, row push-downs, dips, and double chest press. So, ito naman po yung example ng mga exercise for our smaller muscle group for our upper body part. And for lower body part naman po, ito po yung mga exercises for lower body part. Example, squat, jump, squats, reverse lunges, curtsy lunges, side leg raises, side lunges, marching glute, bridge, sumo squats, dengue kicks. This one po, step up, dumbbell squat, and lunges. Yan po, ito po sila, no? Exercise, example po na exercises for lower body part. And ito naman po, no, sa picture po, as you can see, ano lang po siya, body weight lang po siya. So, pwede din po niyo po itong gawin na exercises with weights. Like example po, dumbbells yun. Especially po pag nagpapalikay po na tayo ng glute, mas okay po talaga na mag-use tayo ng weights. Sa lower body part po natin, yung bigger muscle group is glutes and quadriceps. Ito po yung bigger muscle group ng lower body part po natin. And calf hamstring, ito naman po yung smaller muscle group. It's always best to train your bigger muscle group first before working out the smaller muscle because macro muscles are responsible for major movement and strength that help activate the micro muscles. Your bigger muscle groups are your hamstring, glutes, quadriceps, back, and chest. So, nabanggit ko po kanina, no, hamstring, glutes, quadriceps, yun po yung bigger muscle group ng lower body part, and back and chest naman po yung sa upper body part po natin. Traditional exercise order dictates large muscle group should be performed before small muscle group, because this exercise sequence may result in the greatest long-term strength gain. So, mas okay daw po talaga pag we start from bigger muscle group to smaller muscle group for a long-term gains. Warm up. Warm up raises core temperature to inhibit faster muscle recruitment. The purpose of warming up before physical activity is to prepare mentally and physically for your chosen activity. Warming up increases your heart rate and therefore your blood flow. This enables more oxygen to reach muscles. So warm up po, no, before we exercise, we should always warm up first. Warming up, it helps to prepare our mind and body before gawin po natin yung chosen activity po natin. So, much better po na mag-warm up po tayo before we exercise. Kasi po, di ba, pag napansin nyo kung nag-exercise kayo, punta kayo ng gym, tapos mag-exercise kayo agad, hindi kayo nag-warm up. Mas hindi kayo nakakapag-focus, or parang hindi siya nakaka-inspire yung exercise mo, yung wala kang focus. So, pag nag-warm up ka po, mas nakakatulong po talaga yun na ma-prepare yung mind and body mo. Especially po, no, kapag nag-workout ka, tapos may iniisip ka po, i-try nyo po mag-warm up po muna kayo para yung focus nyo po sa exercise nyo po, hindi yung sa iniisip nyo. Kasi mawawalan ka po ng gana kapag nag-exercise ka tapos may iniisip ka. So, it's much better po talaga mag-warm up to prepare the mind and body. A good warm up should last 5 to 10 minutes and work all major muscle groups. For best result, start slowly, then pick up the pace. Many warm-up routines focus on cardio and range of motion exercises such as jumping jack and lunges. So, yun mga lang po, no, example, yung jumping jack, lunges, example na din po daw yun ng warm-up. Ito, in the picture din po, ito po siya, mga example din po ito ng warm-up. Ito, here. Ito po, jumping jack. Stretching, ito po, pwede po itong gawin natin sa pag-warm up. Yung sa treadmill na din naman po, pwede nyo po yung gawin for warm up, like mag-walking. Tapos, mga after a few minutes, mag-jogging ka na po para mag-raise yung heart rate nyo po, para ma-ready na po yung katawan natin for the chosen activity natin. Cool down. Cool down slows down or attempt to bring the body and mind to recovery after heavy or light training. So, before naman po, no, mag-end ng exercise, dapat mag-cool down din po tayo to bring the body and mind for recovery. Especially po sa heavy training. Pero kahit light training lang din po, mag-cool down pa rin po tayo before mag-end ng ating exercise po. The purpose of the cool down is to return your heart rate close to resting. So, purpose po ng pag-cool down po, no, nire-rest po yung heart rate natin, ma-relax po yung katawan natin. Stopping quickly without a cool down can result in lightheadedness, dizziness, or fainting. So, ito po sila, you can feel them kapag hindi ka po nag-cool down. Tapos mag-stop ka lang. After exercise mo, mag-stop ka lang. So, uwi ka. Mafe-feel mo po yung, ito po sila, mafe-feel mo po yan kapag hindi ka nag-cool down. So, much better mag-cool down po tayo. Cooling down is an important transition done after intense activity to allow the body to gradually return to resting or near resting state. Depending on the intensity of the exercise, cooling down after a workout method such as intense weightlifting can involve a slow jog or walk. So, it depends on the intensity of the exercise po, no? For example, intense po yung workout nyo po, especially kapag naglilift po tayo ng weight. Yun po, intense po yung workout na yun kapag naglilift tayo ng weight. So, example po ng pag-cool down, mag-slow jog po kayo or mag-walk sa treadmill before kayo mag-end. Ito po, recording po yan, no, para mag-rest yung katawan natin, especially yung heart rate natin. Ito din po sila, no, example din po ito ng cool down exercises, stretching. Ito, as you can see, ito po sa hips, calf, arms, head and neck, toe touch, lower body parts. Ito po sila, yung mga stretching, ginagawa po ito for cool down exercises. So, treadmill and stretching, yun po, nakakatulong po yun to cool down our body after the exercises. So, additional information lang din po kapag nag-exercise tayo ng full body workout, no, I suggest na ihuhuli nyo po yung ab exercises nyo kasi yun po yung pinaka easy na workout na pwedeng papunta ka na po sa cool down ng exercise po nyo po. At saka po yung mas mararamdaman nyo po yung intense ng ab exercise nyo po kapag ilalas nyo, kasi nga po na-activate na po yung muscle ng abs nyo nun po. So, so much better din po yun na i-last nyo po yung ab exercise kapag nag-full body workout, kasi yun, papunta ka na din po dun sa cool down, kasi yun po yung hindi ka na nag-lift ng weights nun. So ayun po, salamat.
Hi, good morning guys. My name is Mary Ann and I'll be discussing some extra tips for you in case that you wanted to engage in a regular weight training exercise. So this practice is also known as progressive resistance training. So what is progressive resistance training? So progressive resistance training, it is a type of resistance training that incorporates a gradual increase in weights lifted to specific type of program in a certain number of weeks of adaptation. So it is a type of training that may possibly aid in weight loss and gains in muscle mass. In this type of training as well, the use of special equipments such as bands, weights, kettlebells allows for the progressions in the workout routine. So progressively lifting a set load at a certain durations of exercise allows an increase in performance. So this is because the stressors are changing and the body slowly find a different ways to adapt to these changes. So aside from the adaptation that it brings to the body, many recent studies have concluded that progressive resistance training aids more in weight loss and strength gain compared to just performing a cardio training regularly. So guys, if you want to lose weight and gain lean muscles, you need to lift weight or perform body weight training consistently. This is because the domino effect it has to the body. The weight training increases the rate at which your metabolism works, especially when you couple this training program with a cardiovascular training program. So when this happens, it is easier for you to recover from your workouts and you can gain extra lean muscle mass. So when you have an extra number in muscle fibers, the body will find it easier to burn the excess calories it takes in. So why is this? Because compared to fat, muscles requires a higher number of calories or energy to perform efficiently. But how do you perform progressive resistance training? How would you know how much or how little are you supposed to be lifting at the gym or when you are performing body weight training? So guys, always remember that exercise is all about experimentations. This is how the progressive resistance training should go about. Okay, especially if you are new or beginner in exercise. So the most advisable way to go during your first few sessions is to learn the exercise. Why? Because learning how to perform the skill correctly will not only prevent you from obtaining injuries, but it will highly affect the efficiency of your exercise. So knowing how to move and when to exactly move those body parts in exercise will going to help you have a better training program that is efficient and beneficial in the long run. So some coaches also suggest to start performing resistance training by learning how to perform body weight exercises first and then gradually progressing to lifting actual weights, loads, and those exercise machines. So choosing a weight that can be lifted 8 to 12 repetitions in one set is the usual beginner repetitive mode that is mostly applicable if you are to engage to the regular weight training activities. So from there, you gradually progress and add weight to the program until the number of sets you do increases or decrease. So principles of retrogression. So the last two principles of exercise are known as the principle of retrogressions and recovery. So these two principles are related to each other in terms of achieving an optimal performance in your training program. But first, let's talk about the principle of retrogression. So what is retrogression? So retrogression specifically refers to overtraining the body by not allowing it ample recovery. So this simply means that you train too hard and that you don't get the ample time to rest in between your exercises. So guys, you always have to remember that resting or recovery is still a component in fitness that you need to take into consideration. So this is because many studies have linked to the decrease in performance due to the lack of recovery the body experience after putting a lot or some loads have been placed upon it. So these principles may not only lead to decrease in performance but also into several forms of injuries, over fatigue, and worse exhaustions. Principle of recovery. So usually the recovery time depends on the type of training or activity that you do. So for the cardio training, it requires at least 2 or 3 sessions of 24-hour recovery time. This is to enable your muscle fibers and the organ system to return into its homeostasis. While the resistance training or the weight training exercise, it needs at least 24 to 48 hours of recovery time. This is to inhibit muscle fiber repair and growth. But most athletes and active individuals, they actually don't apply this rule on their training. That's why retrogressions occurs and they experience a lot of complications in their training routine. So guys, always remember that allowing your body the ample time to rest and recover through eating the right amount of food, drinking the right amount of fluids, and giving it the right amount of relaxation and joy can help you become more efficient in your active lifestyle. Spending too much time and effort in exercising may also give you a feeling of distress and being burned out. So you need to make sure that you always interpret recovery in your training program. But what does recovery exactly mean? Does it mean that you just have to lie down the whole day and be a couch potato because you've exerted so much effort in your training routine? No, that's not true, okay? Most athletes and active individuals apply the concept of active recovery. So, what exactly is active recovery mean? So, the term itself is already an self-explanatory. So, where you still spend the time to exercise but at a much lower intensity. So if you have been continuously jogging for 30 minutes and you can cover 3 to 5 kilometers already, then you can spend your recovery day by going only half or part of the activity. Or maybe you can alternate the high impact exercise with low impact exercise such as jogging and swimming. These features shows the active recovery. So those examples of active recovery, which is lower impact in the water and a higher impact on the land. Example of this are jogging and swimming. So guys, you don't have to go all the way and exhaust all your effort when you are doing active recovery. Remember that you are giving your body the chance to relax and unwind from the stress. So active recovery can be beneficial in your training routine because your body is still kept active the whole week of your training program. So this ensures that in between the days of your exercise, you don't feel lazy to re-energize and to move your body again. But mind you, okay? Active recovery only applies to those people who are highly trained or well exercised. Beginners like you or me, we always need to take the full recovery or rest. This is because your body has not been conditioned to perform the work that you are demanding it to do. So you need to let your body fully recover so that your adaptations will be quicker and you will reap the benefits of the exercise better. So those are some exercise principles involved in fitness. Hopefully, guys, you're more equipped with the right knowledge about the fitness and how specifically to improve into it.